Is Mr. Skopinski. Should kill this loop.
Yeah, I guess so.
I might have to refer to you for advice and counsel then, like I do with Bob, you know.
Okay.
Up to you, man. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tom's Guitar Show. I'm Tom. They call me Guitar Tom because I'm often seen with a guitar, and they call me on the phone. They say, "Hey, man, what's your show about?" I say, "It's about an hour about guitar players, guitar playing, all things guitaristic." So if you want to call me up, and ask me a question about your guitar, the care and feeding of your guitar, what kind of guitar is right for you, or maybe like how to play the guitar is always good. Some related topic like the sitar, or the guitarra, the guitarron, lutes, ouds, vihuelas, banjos, balalaikas, bouzouki, bajos, sextos, ukuleles, banjolins, mandolins, mandoras, mandolas, bandolims, bandoras, I don't know, man, cavaquinhos, cuatros, tres, what's it, anything with strings on it's fine with me, violins on television. Lutes, as I said, about clarinets, clavinets, clavinovas, clavichords, harmoniums, harpsichords, harmonicas, ocarinas, accordions, tubas, trombones and trombomarinas, cellos and piccolos and cornetos and cornets and sackbuts and pianos, pianolas, pianofortes. And politics, world events, your own personality problems, anything's fair, but just keep it clean. This is a family program. So we have our excellent staff of interns. If I can't answer the question, perhaps one of these people can do it for us. Okay. This guitar is called a Cordova GK Pro. Sorry, the TV lights make a guitar is sensitive to bright lights and heat, and but aren't we all, right? This guitar, I actually got it recently. It was, when it came in, it was buzzing and rattling all over the place. And the frets were sticking out, which indicates that it was very dry. The wood contracts, but the metal frets do not. So somehow a nice Iowa summer, even with the air conditioner going in the music room, moistened it up real well, so it's not dry anymore. Pretty handy little guitar. I had a guitar for many years made in Spain, the Gypsy Kings. And this is a GK Pro. It's a Gypsy Kings model. The Gypsy Kings, of course, if you don't know them, they're a very popular kind of flamenco rumba band. Who, I think they live in southern France, but Spanish is their first language. They're Roma people, also known as gypsies. Although calling somebody a gypsy can be a slur. It's like a pejorative term for somebody, the Roma people. And if you don't know who they are, my understanding is that they got thrown out of India like 1,000 years ago or so. They've been roaming, and they used to always live in caravans, and they still do travel and meet up when they use camping trailers now, but they had the gypsy caravan, which is like the original RV. It's like a wagon with a house built in the back, pulled by a horse. And the reason they did this was so nomadic was because people kept telling them to move it on, move it on. And so they've faced a lot of racism. Hitler rounded up Jews and communists and other people, but they would just kill the gypsies on sight. They tried to rid Europe of all the gypsies, or the Roma people, and failed. But anyway, so they've had a rough time. Django Reinhardt, the famous guitar player, was a Roma person, but from the northern area. It's a tribal people. They're a little different. They're a little darker than Europeans, darker skin. They have keep to their own traditions. They I don't know. I've met a few. I've seen them when I was in Europe. I saw them, in gypsy encampments and with their trailers, travel trailers, caravans. But I've certainly seen the guitar players, the flamenco guitar players. But anyway, so Gypsy Kings are a rather popular band. They play flamenco rumba, and what that is it's like flamenco guitar because they are flamenco is gypsy or Roma people music from southern Spain. It has song and dance with the castanets and the dancing and everything like that. But what they have done somewhere in the 20th century, so we're at the mid 20th century or so, rumba was a very famous, very popular dance rhythm and dance step, which actually is Afro-Cuban. So it originated in Cuba, which has its own history of Europeans and Africans and indigenous people mixing. So these Africans living in Cuba had a rumba dance and rhythm. So this became very popular kind of ballroom dance. And then the Roma people would always, they have bands and they would play, they had to get gigs. That was one of the ways you can make money. If nobody allows you to have any land, you can't farm or anything, so you go into show business. And you fix things and entertainment and fortune telling is a big deal, but famous for. But so they have these bands, and they would play rumbas, and then but the gypsies always make the music their own. So this thing called flamenco rumba was started, and it's very popular throughout Latin America, for instance, and in Spain. And Gypsy Kings are like the masters of flamenco rumba, and they're two clans. They're cousins. They're like one set of brothers and another set of brothers, and those two sets of brothers are cousins. So they bombaleo, bombaleo. I don't know the words to this song. It's in Spanish anyway, with an accent I can. Bombaleo. That sort of thing, Wild, crazy stuff. A lot of fun. Gypsy Kings, I recommend them. You can listen to them. I don't know if they're still playing. They'd be pretty old by now. But when I used to go table to table in Mexican restaurants, my buddy Raimundo, because we were Raimundo y Tomás, and Tomás was my stage name. And as far as I know, and I'm pretty sure I'm not at all Mexican, not even a little bit. I'm just basic. In Pennsylvania, they call it German-Irish white trash. But anyway, but we would go table to table in Mexican restaurants, and a lot of the covers we did were Gypsy Kings. About a quarter of all the songs we did were Gypsy Kings covers. we entertained. For about 3 years, we had this act, playing mostly for tips, and they give us a little bit of money, the restaurant would. And we were mariachis. And so we did lots of Gypsy King stuff, and it was a lot of fun. He sang, Raimundo sang really well. He used to have a show here called Hola. It was a Spanish language show here on PATV. And I was on it a couple times, except I don't really speak Spanish very much, so I kind of grew up with French, in the household. I'd be better off in Quebec than Mexico. But anyway, anyway, the flamenco rumba, and so this guitar is the signature model of a Gypsy Kings, like my old one was, but it finally gave up. It wasn't well braced enough, and the just sort of couldn't handle the pressure after about 10 years of constant playing. So I got a hold of this one, and I had the fella down at the guitar shop help me. It was buzzing. I almost sent it back. But it has a truss rod through the neck, which the old flamencos never had. And the neck just had to stay straight. But a lot of cranking on that and adjusting it. And I put different strings on it and let it just soak up a little bit of that Iowa humidity. And now it's working pretty well for me. I might actually lower the action a little bit. But while he was cranking around inside, he noticed something that I couldn't see. And there it said, "Made in China," which blew my mind. I thought I said on the internet, it was made in Spain. So I had to get it online because of course they don't stock anything like that around here. So it's actually Chinese. But, European spruce top and Spanish cypress, sides and back. And cypress is the preferred wood for a flamenco. So it's sort of this blonde, blonde front and back. That's cypress. Of course, it has a Fishman blender, a pickup, which has a microphone in it, and a pickup under the saddle. And I think it sounds pretty good. Does it sound okay to you? Yeah.
You say it was assembled in China.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where it was designed, but I also found out that I think Cordoba is actually a company from California. But before, and my Gypsy Kings was made in Spain, the one that I got back in 2002, I think. And then in 2012, it gave up. It died in the fall of 2012. But I advised other students to get them, and they had the Model 5 or whatever, and it was a cheap one. It was made in Portugal. So I thought a Portuguese guitar. Yeah. And of course, what they call Portuguese guitar is really a mandolin, but they do play guitar in Portugal also. They call it something else in Portuguese. It's more like a viola or something. I can't speak Portuguese. I have no trouble with Spanish. Portuguese is a step too far. But anyway, so now they're making them in China. It blows my mind. And then when I read about this more, I discovered that I think Cordoba is actually a company out of California. And they have guitars built for them around the world. But I gotta say, the Chinese guitars are some of them are really nice. I have a couple, and they're pretty good. They used to be nasty, but they learned how. Like Korean guitars used to be really bad, and then there's this one factory that makes hollow body jazz guitars in Korea. They're quite nice. They're great, but they've been doing it for about 3 generations now. So they learned how to do it. When they first started making them, of course, they throw up a factory and they get a bunch of people in and say, okay, now you're going to go work really hard and for short money, and here's what you're going to build. And then after a while, though, like the South Koreans, I don't think they, I don't know. They're not notorious for treating their employees badly. But now China is, of course, building everything. So I guess I'll happily keep my GK Pro, as in Gypsy Kings. It wasn't even a lot expensive, really. Pretty handy little guitar. Fairly easy to play. Mr. Skopinski, sir.
Yeah, I don't know if I can step into Bob's shoes. He's not with us today, but
I don't know what happened to Bob, but you can wear your own shoes. It's okay with me.
okay. Well, I was going to ask some Bob questions though, like if you have any upcoming gigs or performances.
Yeah, well, I do, of course. I'll be at the Tuscan Moon Friday and Saturday this week. Last week I had to take Friday off because of the 4th of July. But I'll be there Friday and Saturday. I'm supposed to be playing at 6, but I'll probably start around 6:30 or just a little bit later because I'm always late, you know. And that's what you expect from a guitar player. And then Sunday I'll be at the Journey Church again, and they're in Coralville, off of Oakdale Boulevard. Very liberal, progressive place. I was actually just there. The padre up there, he's going to do a bunch of meditation videos. He's going to have like nature scenes with guitar music. So I recorded a bunch of little tunes for him, you know, on this guitar and the 12-string that I had. So jangly, pingity, you know, like stuff on the 12-string. So I said, bing, if you like overtones, and I do.
Ambient guitar.
That's right. So I did a bunch of that stuff. But I'm there on Sunday, and that's supposed to be start 10:30, and I'm supposed to be there at 10. So I'm usually there by about 10:10 or 10:15, but that's okay because I don't have to play till 10:30. So by being late, it just means you know I'm not really late. You see, which helps anyway. So and then on the I guess it's the 19th of this month, and I want to make a big deal about this. I'm going to do a concert by the fountain. Is it the rain dance or the water something? What's that fountain called? Anybody know what that fountain's called?
The one downtown on
Yeah.
the Ped Mall?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. That's a good question.
So there's some sort of rain dance or water dance. I should learn what it's called. But it's the fountain in front of the Sheraton Hotel on the pedestrian mall in Iowa City. So I play a free concert as part of Open in Iowa City. And PATV will be there, and should be one staffer and one volunteer, or perhaps an intern. But I want them to wear PATV T-shirts. If they have a camera that says PATV on the side of it, that'd be even better, so we can have a presence, you know. And I might even put this mic collar on that says PATV on it, although I have nothing to say. I wasn't planning to sing or anything like that. I wouldn't want to ruin the show. So that'll be from 1 until 3. I don't think I'm going to play the whole time, but I'm going to try to make a 1-hour TV show out of it, and I'd like to have an audience. It should be pretty busy. I mean, Saturday afternoon.
This is July 19th.
Yeah, coming out. That's not too far away. It's
Yeah,
you know, it's
about 2 weeks away, if
weeks
even
from
that.
now. Yeah.
Not quite. Not next weekend, but the weekend after.
Yeah, the weekend after
Or
next.
not this coming weekend, but the weekend after.
Yeah, this is what, the 7th or something today, or the
Eighth.
8th? Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun. So 8, let's see, it's 11 days. Only 11 short days from now. So, yeah. So next week's show, I could talk about it again and ask everybody to show up. And then after that, it'll be too late. So we'll have to put some rumors in the press. And to quote the poet Bob Dylan, someone's got it in for me. They're planting rumors in the press. Whoever it is, I can only... Whoever it is, they better cut it out quick, but when they will, I can only guess. That's right, it's quoting Bob Dylan again. But yeah, so that's my big thing. I've got other things going on, you know, like cocktail hour for a wedding at the Sheraton Hotel, actually, this weekend, which is a private event, of course, but...
And you mentioned earlier the Tuscan Moon, and that's in Kelowna, right?
In Kelowna, yeah. So actually, this Saturday I'm going to play a cocktail hour. Then I'm going to hightail it as quickly as possible to Kelowna and play there. So I guess the next weekend I'm going to play the outdoor concert, and then I'm going to zoom out to Kelowna again. And, so I hope it doesn't rain, because the patio, when it's nice out, it's great, because they got all these little lights, you know, and it's outdoors, and they got these little vines and plants growing all around, and nice little tables, and people having a good time. So the playing outdoors there is really nice. When I was there last Saturday, of course, it rained. And I was indoors. It was okay, you know, but it's just not the same. The outside thing. Anyway, yeah, so I'll be doing that. And after that, I guess I'll be at Tom's Guitar Show. I'm thinking of doing another classical guitar event at the end of August. I'd like to do a couple of classical guitar events. I'd like to have a concert, like maybe at the library or something, but of some of my students and maybe some other people too, but I don't know if we're ready or if enough people would show up to justify getting meeting room A. Because it's one thing if you have a big room with lots of chairs and there's 9 people. If there were 109 people, that'd be great. And then those guitarists could get all nervous, and overcome their fear and be energized by the crowd. But it's just depressing when, so this is my ambition. I have some people who are up-and-coming classical guitarists. So if nothing else, I'd like to have a show, the coffee house show at the end of August, be maybe devoted to classical guitar.
That'd be a good idea.
We did that before. I think it went really well. I think it was a lot of fun for everybody.
Yeah, and they upstairs here in the PATV studio, we were on the lower level of the building under Uptown Bills, and they had some publicity on the news tonight. They might repeat it at 10 o'clock on KGAN on Channel 2. They do a road trip Iowa kind of a thing.
Right.
And today they did Uptown Bills. They talked a little bit about the history of Bill and Bill Sachter and all that. And then they interviewed young Tom upstairs, who was very eloquent and talking about what the aims and intents of the Uptown Bills Coffee House was. So they got a little bit publicity. And we're there at the last Tuesday of every month.
That's right. We do the last Tuesday. We do Tom's Guitar Show live from the coffee house. So I have yet to have a cup of coffee while I do it, but I think about it. How is the coffee up there anyway? Does anybody know?
I've never had any. So. I'm sure it's good, though.
I'm sure
they
it must
make
be.
many things up there, and things in blenders and milkshakes and all that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
but please do not order a milkshake while I'm doing my show.
Right. The blender is somewhat loud.
That's right. I had a gig once in a restaurant every Friday night, and there were certain people who just loved margaritas, and they drank lots of margaritas, and they blended them, And the blender was actually at the end of the bar, closest to the stage area. And, it would fire off, quite a few times. There were fairly large groups of people who had, many margaritas, and that blender was going all the time. You got the yellow ones and the pink ones. The strawberry margarita and I guess the lemony one. I don't really drink margaritas, actually. I don't even drink alcohol at all, I guess. I don't know. I miss out on a lot. I'm missing out on a lot, but I will say my driver's license is totally intact, and I licensed driver with no restrictions, and reasonably low insurance rate. So I've actually never even been arrested, which not every guitar player can say. So a couple times I had to sit in the back of the police car when I was young, but it was because they got the wrong guy, and they let me go. So, anyway, still nerve-wracking. Not to say a lot of people don't go to prison and some get executed when they're the wrong guy, but they figured it out. So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic.
No, you've covered your upcoming gigs and interests and stuff, so we've informed the audience about those things, so we're doing good here.
Yeah, more giggage. That's what we need. Plenty of giggage.
And then at some point you should maybe throw out some of your ideas about wanting to go on the road and do some traveling at some point.
I've been preparing myself for that. I've actually been trading in old equipment for newer equipment, and I like this. I have a new amp stand, little thing here. But actually, one thing you can do is you can put a boom on it and mic your amp, because there's a mic stand built into it, so you can actually mic your amp. And I almost did that. This is my new amp stand that goes with my Fishman Loudbox. And I got this Fishman Loudbox in the spring, I guess, or maybe early spring. And I traded another one and some other stuff for the larger Fishman Loudbox. And then I out and out bought a even larger amp that sits up on a big stick. It's a powered amp. So I'm ready to play in a lot of anything. I can make a pretty big sound. I'll certainly be doing my own sound at the outdoors in the park or by the fountain. But I'll probably, if anything's bigger than that, if I have to be louder than that, then they have to hire a PA, somebody to run it. Is my feeling. But all this stuff fits in the trunk of a car, And so I'm ready to tour, I suppose. Now I got to get some gigs. My thing is, I don't want to do this singer-songwriter thing. I don't want to do the cover thing. I'm perfectly happy to play some covers, especially the guitar arrangements of them, because I think it's really interesting to, especially to do the old standards, you know. But I went to hear Pierre Bensoussan when he was in Cedar Rapids not that long ago. I hadn't seen him for a while, but I used to hang out with him in the 80s. He didn't remember me, but oh well. But he, he plays instrumentals and he tells little stories. I kind of like that, you know. He did some scat singing and some singing too. I could break into a song right now, but that would spoil everything. reckon? C sharp minor or C minor? Which one would you prefer? C sharp minor or C minor? What you think? Huh? C minor. What do you think? C minor? Okay, all right. There you go. That's 3 flats. C sharp minor has 4 sharps. I don't care. It's all the same to me. Actually, it's not the same because one has 3 flats, one has 4 sharps. But if you're a nerd and you spent your youth like trying to figure out the scales, it's not that big a deal, you know. little blues. There was one blues guy, I forget his name. Back in the old days, who from the Delta did blues on the soft string guitar, gut strings. Everybody else had steel strings, but he did the soft strings, like a classical guitar. Like now it's nylon. No sheep are injured in the making of these strings, but. I'll be back next week. I come back every week.